Hey everyone, it's Miss Melody from the Ludington Library Junior Room. Welcome back to Try It Out with Miss Melody. Today we are going to be doing a fun spring art project that also includes some recycled materials. If you were with me last time, we made a fun cherry blossom using a plastic bottle as our stamper. And today we're going to be using something else that you might have lying around the house that is probably just going to get recycled or go into the trash, and that is magazines. So you can use any type of magazine you have lying around the house that people are done reading, because what we are going to be looking for in these magazines is just different colors. We're going to be using lots of different tiny little pieces of ripped up magazine, which are all different colors, to make a flower collage. So today you're going to need just a few different materials to make this collage today. The first thing you're going to need is, of course, magazines. So as I said, any kind you have lying around, you're going to collect them. You might need a stack of maybe 4 or 5 just to get you started, to make sure you have enough pages that have lots of different colors on them. You're also going to need a piece of paper. I am using cardstock today. You don't need to. You can just use regular printer paper if that's what you have. You're also going to need a pencil to draw an outline of your flower, some glue to connect all of your little magazine scraps onto your paper, and then there are 2 things that you might want to have. The first one is a pair of scissors. When I made this flower, I used my scissors to cut out little pieces of the magazine, little pieces of paper. You can do that if you'd like. You can cut out little pieces if you'd like, or you can also just use your hands to rip out little pieces. They're going to look very similar, just a little bit different. Using scissors is great for preschoolers who are trying to work on their scissor skills. If you're doing this project with a little bit younger children, you can just have them rip up the paper, and that is also really good for their fine motor skills. So either way is fine. The last thing you're going to need, or you might want to have, is some sort of little container to store your pieces in while you're collecting them. We're going to be collecting lots of different colors from the magazine, and we're going to want to keep those different colors separated from one another. So you're going to have maybe a pile of green and a pile of red, and maybe you are super organized and you can keep things in a pile in front of you and they'll be fine. I am not quite that organized, so I'm going to be putting my different colors into different Ziploc baggies. You can use little baggies, little bowls, little plates, whatever you have around the house to kind of keep the different colors together and separated from one another. So the first thing that we are going to do in making our collage flower is draw an outline of the flower, so we'll know where to put our little pieces of paper when we're putting it together. Now, if you're working with really young children, you might need to do this for them. It's a little bit trickier. If you are an adult who's doing this project or an older child, you'll probably be able to do this yourself. So I'm going to start by drawing a pair of parallel lines to make my stem. Let me take my pencil here. Draw just 2 lines here near the bottom where my stem will be. Just like that. And then I'm going to draw the flower up top. So I'm going to start by putting a circle in the middle, kind of in the middle of my paper, where the middle of my flower would be. And then I'm going to make 5 petals around the outside. You can do more or less if you would like. I just think 5 looks really good. I'm going to make them kind of large, almost so they're going all the way to the edge of my paper, because the petals are really the most important part, I think. That's where we're going to be able to put a lot of colors. I'm going to make these just a little bit bigger. You are going to be covering over these pencil lines, so they do not have to be perfect. If you don't like the way they look, you can always erase and try again. So this is what I have so far, my 5 petals. At the bottom, I'm also planning to be putting some brown piece of paper for dirt, but I'm not going to draw where I put that because I know where the bottom of the page is. I know where my stem is. I'm just going to put them around the bottom. So now I'm ready to start collecting my different colors. When I did this flower, I really wanted it to be purple. So I collected lots of different colors of purple to make this flower. But with the one I'm making right now, I think I would like to make each of my petals a different color. So I'm going to be collecting a lot of different colors. And before I start ripping out pieces of my magazine, I kind of want to make a plan in my head of what colors I'm looking for. So I know that I would like a green stem. So I'm going to look for colors that are green, little sections of green in my magazine. I would like some dirt that's brown, so I'm going to look for brown. And then I think I would like lots of different colors for the petals. So maybe red and pink and purple, blue, maybe yellow. And I think I might do the center of my flower orange. So all those different colors I'm going to start looking for in my magazine. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm not ready to fill in anything yet. And I'm going to pull out my magazines. And what I'm going to be looking for are pages that have just big sections of the color that I want to use. So this is blue. I am collecting some blue. So I am going to rip out the part of the page here that does not have any words on it. So just like that. So this is a section of blue, and then I'm going to rip that into smaller pieces. When I am putting my flower together, I want pieces that are not enormous and not tiny, kind of in the middle, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Not too big, not too little, just right, so that I'll be able to fill in my petals and my stem. Now the blue that I just ripped out, even on the same page, they're not exactly the same shade of blue. It kind of changed as it went along. This is a darker blue, this is a lighter blue, and that's okay. That's gonna give my flower lots of different shades in it, which is what I'm really looking for. So I'm gonna make a pile of blue, and actually I'm gonna start right away and get organized and put this blue into a baggie, just like that. So this will be now any other blues I find, I'm gonna put in here as well. And each of my bags will have a different color. Sometimes you can find pages that are almost entirely the color you're looking for and you'll get a lot of it. Sometimes you are maybe looking for a color and not finding a lot of it. You might have to use just a little section, like maybe I could just use this little bit of red on this page if I'm looking for red and not finding it. But you're gonna just keep going through your magazine and either ripping out or cutting out little pieces of different colors and collecting them. So if I select this red, I would rip off the brown that's around the outside, and I would maybe just use a little bit like that. I'm gonna be collecting mine in different bags, and once I've collected all that I need, I will show you how to put it together. All right, I am all finished collecting my colors. So I have baggies of all my different colors. We have green, we have yellow, orange, purple, pink, red, blue, and brown. And now I'm ready to start putting my flower together. And I'm gonna start by doing my stem. So I want a green stem. I'm gonna pull out my green colors, put them on the table here, and have lots of different shades. So I'll kind of have to decide which ones I wanna use the most. I really like kind of these colors, so I'll probably use a lot of those. And I'm gonna start by putting some glue down. If you are using a glue stick, it will probably dry a little bit as you're working, and so you might have to reapply it, and that's all right. If you're using a glue bottle, that's a little wetter, it probably won't dry quite as fast. What I like to do when I'm making a collage is start by outlining the outside of the space I'm working on. So I'm gonna work on outlining the outside so I can kind of make the stem look straight the way that it is here. See how I'm using the outside edge is nice and straight, and the inside I'm still gonna need to fill it in. I'm gonna use my different colors here to fill in the stem area. Now some of this might get covered up. If it's near the edge of my petals, I probably will be putting other colors over them, and that's okay. It's all right to have some layers. And it's okay if your stem is not perfectly straight, because in nature, you'll probably notice that not all flower stems are perfectly straight. They kind of look a little bit different. Yep, and my glue has dried, so I'm gonna add a little more glue. There we go. My stem is all done. Then I'm gonna do the same thing with my petals. So I'm gonna start working on the outside of my petal first, kind of outline it, and then fill in the missing gaps. So I'm gonna start with pink here. I'm gonna put lots of glue in there. Then I'm gonna start outlining the edge of my petal with the pink. And just like with my green, I have lots of different shades of pink. It's not all the same color. And that's okay. I don't have a lot, and if you have different textures, maybe some of the things that you cut out will have like a little bit of a pattern in them, and that will look really neat too. They don't have to be just a flat color. They can have some texture. So I'm almost done outlining the edge of this, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is one. Now I've outlined the edge of the petal. I'm ready to fill it in. And I'm gonna do that with each and every one of my petals, with the center of my flower, and then I'm gonna add some brown down at the bottom. And when I am done, I will show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is my finished flower. I have all of my different petals of different colors. I was able to fill them in just like I wanted to. And if you take a look, you will notice the pieces that are cut and the pieces that are torn look a little bit different, but they both look like a really neat collage. When you are doing this project, probably the part that will take the longest is ripping or cutting up the little pieces to use in assembling your collage. Putting it together actually takes less time than collecting the pieces, and you'll probably end up collecting a few more pieces than you actually need, and that's okay. So if you're doing this project with especially really young children, you might want to spread it out over maybe a couple of days. Use one day to collect all your pieces, and then another day to assemble the pieces if you're working with a child that doesn't have an attention span that's quite as long. But I hope that you enjoy making this project, that you're able to use some really cool recycled materials and make a piece of art that you are proud of. Just a few quick reminders. We are still running our poetry contest until the end of the month. Winners will get tickets to Longwood Gardens. We are judging in the categories of elementary, middle school, and high school, and you can submit your poems about trees to the junior room. This week, we are also giving out some grab-and-go planting bags for Earth Day, which is coming up on Friday. So if you'd like to give us a call and reserve, they have some seeds for planting, also some little mini greenhouses so you can watch your seeds grow at your house. So I hope that you enjoyed this project. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you soon.